Holy hypocrisy. Hey everyone, have you heard about this shit yet? These people are so corrupt, they're so vile, and there's two things that I take away from this shit. One is these mindless enforcers of the state, their so-called morality is completely aligned with whatever their political masters tell them, right? Whatever they decree, whatever they write down as legislation or law. They're clueless individuals as far as having their own personal sense of morality. And the other thing is they're just opportunists hoping that the government will steal enough money from the Canadian people who consume, grow, or cultivate marijuana that they can benefit from it as well. Headline, CBC News, British Columbia. BC police municipalities want province to share legal pot earnings. Port Coquitlam, View Royal want profits to be directed to municipalities to address enforcement costs. Enforcement costs? Wait a minute. Wasn't the whole pretense of legalizing marijuana in Canada supposed to be about decreasing enforcement costs? If you legalize something, it should be vastly less expensive and cheaper to what? Patrol for drug users? What the? But like I said, I mean, just look at the way the fucking liberals, the federal liberals, the people that you fucking, especially you millennials, you thought it was good to vote for politicians. You thought Trudeau and his shiny hair. You don't realize what a snake oil salesman is. What do you think they're going? What do you think a fucking politician's going to walk up to you with a Freddy fucking mask on or a Jason mask on, and with a big axe or a machete? What? Well, you think you're going to be able to recognize them that easily? No, politicians are snake oil salesmen. They're going to come at you with a bunch of bullshit, benevolent platitudes, lies, and deceptions so that you will fall in line and keep trying to legitimize their authority over you. And you know what? Hey, you fell for it, didn't you? There are people like us out there trying to tell you all the time, hey, stop falling for this shit, man. Come on, grow up. You're not dropped yet? Or you ladies, what, you haven't matured enough yet? What? You're not adult yet? None of you out there are adult enough to realize that governments, people that go into government, that want to centrally plan, dictate, control, and plunder the lives of millions of people, you actually believe that they got your best interests at heart. Holy fucking naive. And that's a direct result of that education. You know, that super expensive education that you paid for, or your parents paid for, or at this stage of the game, be successive generations. It might be your grandkids that will end up paying for your education. Think about that one for a minute too. But I mean, come on. For the cops to now to be turning around saying, hey, we want in on that action. Yeah, sure, we've thrown, thousands, maybe tens of thousands, I don't know, maybe hundreds of fucking thousands. And it's not just that they're sitting behind bars. If you knew what all entails, what all encompasses before you even get to the fact where you're sitting in that fucking little jail cell, if you knew the kind of degradation, humiliation, and shit that you got to go through before you even get to that point. But there's all kinds of Canadians sitting in there for what? For doing something where there was no victim. Everything was voluntary. No genuine crimes were actually committed. But the police have no problem. Like I say, they have no problem. They sleep very well at night after they incarcerate or charge you and penalize you because, hey, guess what? The government rewards them for doing so. So their incentive is, yeah, I'm going to fuck with people. Even if I recognize that it's immoral what I'm doing, hey, I benefit economically for it. So, hey, and I'll get a whole lot of people that'll love me because I wear a badge, because I'm part of the state, because I'm part of the cult of religion, right? Statists. What a bunch of fucking ideologues. Like I say, worse than any religion on the planet. Statism is truly the most inept, corrupt religion on the fucking planet. At least all the other religions, their God lives outside of this worldly realm that we live in. But in the religion of statism, the religion of politics, they actually live on the same fucking plane, the same earth that we all live on. But you want them to have the pretense of authority instead of someone that's outside of the actual scope or ability to dominate, dictate, control, and plunder your lives. Huh? Maybe not such a good idea. Maybe some of you atheists out there should start thinking about this shit a little bit, right? Because we all do have to function under rules. So should the rules come from fallible human beings or, an ideal, a construct, a concept that's outside the privy of the rest of us, right? Math's outside the purview of the rest of us. There's no one that has the authority about math. But I don't hear people complain about that. Math is just universal and it's consistent. It doesn't exist in the real world. You could call math or science, you could call that a god. But in reality, all it really comes down to is universally consistent ethics, morals, or principles, or fundamentals. The minute you place that in the hands of people, well, yep, this is what you end up with. Police departments and local governments are asking British Columbia for a cut of marijuana revenues as the province crafts regulations for legalized pot. A cut of the revenues. Well, but just the other day, just think about it. So if you could cut, so in 2018 when it comes legal, so the cops the day before, oh, it's immoral, unethical, and oh, how dare you. You're a criminal for doing what you're doing. The next day, oh, totally legal. Oh, no, what you're doing is totally legal, totally ethical, totally moral, but hey, I want my cut. You don't see the hypocrisy there? If you don't, you're more inept than you even fucking know. And you should not have any ability to put your opinion. If you believe for that shit, if you fall for that shit, you should not be able to vote, right? Why the fuck should your dumb ass be able to enslave other people because you're too stupid to recognize how fucking massively corrupt, immoral, and unethical this is? And genuinely under common law, illegal, because there's no victim. Genuine crimes means, a real crime under the common law sense means there has to be a victim involved. And in the drug trade, there are no victims, especially when you're talking about marijuana. No victims. How it's a crime? Because by government mandate, government edict, the decree of the king, the decree of the politicians, right? The decree of the ruling class. You fall for that shit, and because you represent a large portion of the voting base that seek to legitimize the pretense of authority for these fucking control freaks and authoritarians, you're the ones that continue to enslave all the people around you and even yourself. I can't point out enough times, and I'll continue to do so, but I can't say enough, people, especially you young millennials. Fuck! Grow up at some time. Grow up enough so that those of us that are grown up and understand this stuff fundamentally, we're not continually enslaved by your stupid ideology or your ability to amass in large numbers, to overwhelm logic, reason, common sense, morality, and ethics with mob rule, majority rule, democracy. Skinny Libertarian, and I love liberty.